where civilization starts over. We are now on episode 10, and today we are going to be doing the War of Empires. This is going to be the biggest war ever. You can even classify this as a European war, or if you want to, you can classify this as a World War One. But I'm not classifying it as World War One because there's, well, two continents that don't see, well, that are not going to see any fighting, and that's going to be really North America, South America, and Oceania. If you guys enjoy these videos, make sure to like and subscribe. Let's get into my longest video yet, and the War of Empires. So going back to the border where Scotland made a horrible mistake and invaded into the circles, make sure you remember the circles and the triangles are not at war. They're both going to war with the squares. Scotland had a lot of troops here for some reason. It's almost like they planned to do this. But they make a big invasion into England. The front line looks something like this, and they take out like half of England. Really quickly because England was not expecting them to invade them yet. But we do see the French team, who is a part of in the same alliance as England, sending troops up there, and they're actually going to be able to pull off a offensive. This offensive is going to get back some of the land, but still, there's Scottish troops are holding off against England and the French team. We see the gold team start a invasion into the red team. They're not going to be able to get super far because red team troops are on the border, but they are going to be able to push through only because the red team is focusing on this pink country, which almost immediately the red team is going to spearhead through and take over Adriatic Seacoast and take over all of this upper northern part. So that way they had focused on this so that way they could get over to this exclave they have. Although the red team does make an invasion into the gold team through their puppet state, and they're actually able to split it in half and invade into the gold team. But down over here, the red team is completely destroying the pink team. The pink team, they did beat the red team, but they only beat them because of the blue team. If the blue team didn't get involved, they would not have won this with that war, and this whole war could have been avoided. Blue team troops do arrive down there, and the Italian peninsula is now being, like, it's a lot of cannons are being fired, which I don't even think cannons have been invented yet. So it's swords and shields. Down over here in Africa, we see these two on the same team, but this one isn't. And actually, we see the African country make a big invasion and encircle the capital of Morocco, and they're actually able to take out Morocco's capital. And this was really big because everyone thought that the African team was weak now that they lost these two areas. But they didn't lose much, and they're going to prove that because they just are kind of laying the smackdown on these two countries. I guess these two were not set up properly by the African team, and they're kind of just getting demolished out of the out of the gate. Oh my god. Since the lime team and the blue team are kind of, well, now they're not working together, but they're also not fighting against each other yet. We see a small lime invasion. Well, it's not super small, but we see lime invading into the blue country, and we see the blue French team making an invasion into the northern part. But we do see the blue team make an offensive into the lime team's territory. And don't forget, the lime team has areas in Africa, so they're also going to be able to make an invasion into the Morocco country. And the Morocco country is now kind of just falling apart, and there's not really much they can do. And we're going to be able to see the first country that gets taken over. Over in Egypt, we see the blue team push into the more deserty parts of Egypt. They didn't have much troops down here, and the troops actually are going to die out here, so that's awesome. But we do see a invasion of the northern part of this kind of Libyan country, well, this colony of the blue team, and they're going to get quite a bit of land. Egypt is a lot stronger than the blue team thought. Up over here, we see the blue team's Germanic colony pretty much get taken over immediately. It was really quick, and we see the Germanic country invade into Poland. We also see Prussia make an invasion into Poland. And Poland is a weak country. They're not that strong. Yes, they did take land from Germany, but the thing is, they shouldn't have. That land was really hard to assimilate, and very soon, Poland is kind of just gonna get destroyed. They're not gonna fall apart, but they are gonna lose a ton of land, and now they're setting up a defensive border. We see the Lime team make, well, don't worry about this color, I'll make it different. They're able to take out the panhandle of the Farmers Union. I'm gonna make the colors different for each front, so that way you know this is the Farmers Union front of the Lime team, and this is the Blue Iberians. But we do see Farmer Union troops make an invasion into the Red team and into the Red team's puppet state. But it's here that we see a new ally of the Triangle team join the war. And this country is going to be the white, well, this kind of whitish yellow team. And the reason this country joins, well, not only was the red team very nice after they invaded, this is the third country that a female is the leader of, and they agree with the principalities of the red country. So they're going to join in on this war to hopefully get some land. This country, although being small, is stronger than some could expect, as they make an invasion into the green, well, into the Farmers Union, and they get pretty dang far, a lot farther than anyone would expect. With this distraction, the red team is able to push this offensive out of their country, but they're going to be put on a defensive border with the Farmers Union. And down here in Turkey, the Greece country, the Golden Greek country, is going to encircle the capital and wipe it out. But the people of Turkey know that even though their leader is not responding, they need to keep fighting no matter what happens. The leader discussed this with their people, with their armies, to keep on fighting. And the Greek country is only going to be able to get about this far before the population and the military start fighting against the Greek country. But we do also see an invasion into the white Romanian country. And this is going to be a good invasion. It's going to go pretty good for them. And we do also see the Farmers Union make a big invasion into the Romanian country, and they're going to get pretty dang far into this country. They're also going to make an invasion into Prussia, splitting the country in half, and this is going to be one of the worst things that could happen to Prussia, as their capital is taken. Norway making an invasion into Sweden. They cannot take it anymore. They need to invade into Sweden. They hate Sweden, and they make a gigantic invasion, cutting off the north of Sweden and kind of just reducing it down to just the very little Stockholm area. And then the Dutch and the Germanics, they go to war, and their front line looks something like this. And then we see a gigantic Lime invasion into the Blue French country, cutting off a lot of their land. And this is not going good for the circles so far. But a big break in the war just happened as the red team fully takes over the pink team, and they are now the only country in Iberia. But the problem is with this, they're able to take back their, the Greek countries will be able to take back their puppet state, and they're also able to fully take over the Baltic area of the red team. So that came at a cost, but now something even worse is happening, as we see the Greek country make a landing inside of this little tip of the boot and start pushing up towards the capital of the pink country. But although this happens, the red team is able to take over the two islands in the Mediterranean, officially stating that they are the Italy of this timeline, and they need they need all of the boot. The Iberian team knows if they don't pick stuff up, they're probably going to lose this war. So they get a ton of troops, and they set out to knock the Lime country out of this war. And so they are able to push back the Lime's offensive and make a deep push into their country. And it's almost able to like split it in half. They're going to take over this panhandle area, which meaning they're also going to take over some of these fronts and invade into the blue team a little bit more. They make a naval landing over here and start an invasion into not only the Lime team but the red team, and are aiming to cut off the Lime team's support and knock them out of this war. The blue Iberian team's general just did one of the smartest moves he could ever do, and now he's about to knock out the Lime team from this war. With this, the Dutch team makes their invasion, kind of cutting the country in half and taking over this area. And the red team leader knows if she does not act quick, she's going to lose the strongest person on their team. So she hurries and kicks the Greeks out of their country. The red Italian team is going to start supporting rebels inside of the blue Iberian team. These rebels are going to take a little bit to get ready. And now the red team is going to have to go on the offensive and into the blue country. They set out their ships and take over these islands before making a landing inside of the homeland of the Iberian team. But before we go back to that, Sweden capitulates over to Norway. The Dutch are gonna push back against the Orange and begin a massive invasion into their country, and this is going to cripple the Orange team. And don't forget, there's troops of the Lime team still here. They're trapped from going anywhere, and soon enough, this area falls over to the Dutch. The blue Iberian team starts having a panic attack because now their homeland is being invaded. But before they do anything about that, they did send out an expedition, and now they make a landing inside of the French claim in the British Isles and take it all over while making a small landing inside of northern France. The Farmers Union is going to swiftly go through the Romanian country and take it all over. They then refocus their troops and push back against this whitish country. And then they take out the white country. And now they take over Prussia. The Triangle team just lost 2 of their members, and the Circle team just lost 1. And the Farmers Union is showing why they are a strong country. And now a lot of bad stuff is about to happen. Poland is going to take back the areas that the Germanic country stole from them. Then they make an invasion into the Germanic country, and Germany is holding on by the bare skin of their teeth. Norway is saving them so much right now, and Norway is about to pull off the move of a lifetime. They go over, make a landing in Scotland, and, well, they not only take over all of Scotland, but they make a landing inside of Ireland and begin pushing up the coast of the north. And now the blue team, now that the Norwegians have landed inside of their country, they are going to start to panic because the Norwegians are a lot stronger than they thought. But something bad is going to happen to the blue Iberian team. Those rebels that I was talking about, well, not only are they done, they just declared their independence from the motherland. And this, well, if you don't remember, there used to be another country down here. And this country was the Southern Iberian team. And now that this war happened and the red team was directly supplying those rebels, they just unlocked a new front inside of the Iberian team. And Iberia is going to have to pull back troops from the Lime team, officially making it a even war. Well, I don't know if you'd call it even war, but it turns the odds inside of the Triangle's alliance a lot, and the Lime team makes an invasion into the blue Iberian team. Oh crap. While all the stuff was going on in Europe, China has been making their way and dealing with these two Asian countries. Vietnam, well, they are holding up a fight, but it's a lot less than China thought. And Korea, they just kind of fold very quickly. You guys want to see something cool with the Iberians colony? Independence movements have just made it possible, and now these people here kind of want their independence. Not only that, but the Turkish people push the the Greeks out of their country, and the Turkish, move into the country of the Greeks, and they, after a little bit, take over all of the Turkish claims of Greece. The Greeks are going to they're going to pull back their troops, which is going to give this area back to the red team. And red team forces are going to enter in. They're also going to take over the puppet state as the Greeks are falling apart. And while the blue team is still alive and they're handling this rebellion, the rebellion wasn't as strong as the Iberians thought it would be. So the Iberians are able to like make small pushes into this rebellion and kind of take it over. The Greek nation full on collapses. We see let me turn off capitals. We see a green Greek nation kind of rise. They take over the capital, and they kind of just take over a lot of areas. This was the main part of Greece. These are the actual Greeks, and they are saying that the country was not being ran correctly. The rest of it is going to go over to the red team. But the thing is, this Greek country, more areas are going to declare independence, and it kind of just turns into a big old Balkan mess. So now with Greece out of the war, let's look at the people inside of the Square Alliance that are still alive. The Square Alliance is falling apart. They only have 3 members inside of Europe. And they only have 3 members in all. And that is the Farmers Union, Poland, and Iberia. And good news for you guys who like Iberia, because the Iberians beat back the rebellion, and now they beat back the offensive inside of the Lime. French country does take over these areas that were occupied by the Iberians, I think, and they also, they kind of take over all their country back, and they take back Britain. In other areas, Norway takes over all of Ireland, and the blue team starts a new offensive into the Lime territory. As you can see, they're at the gates of the Lime capital, and they take it. The blue team has just taken the Lime's capital, and the Lime team is officially falling apart. The red team is going to send their troops in and take over all the country before any other outside interference can be done. And the Lime team, the strongest member on the Triangle Alliance, has just completely fallen apart. And not only that, the Germanic country also falls apart. They are collapsing, and with orders from the red team, Norway is going to send their troops in and occupy these areas. And they're actually going to push back against the Polish. And now they have a new front the Norwegians have to worry about. The red team is also going to take back their yellowish-white friend. I'm not going to recolor it because I'd have to go all the way back and kind of restart everything. But just know that the white team is back. The Norwegians are going to push back against the offensive of the Dutch. And the Dutch are kind of thinking about exiting this war. They're going to ask the French team if they can leave this war. The French team is going to say no. So they're going to go over to the red team, and they're going to ask if they can leave this war. And you want to know what the red team is going to do? The red team is going to invade up into the Dutch areas, taking these areas over completely. The Dutch country is very offended by this, but there's not much they're going to be able to do as the Norwegians start pushing in to retake Germanic lands. With this pushback, the Dutch team is going to leave this war to keep the lands they have and to not be invaded anymore. They need this war to end. People in their country are getting really rowdy. Their economy, almost everything, has completely gone to the drain. With this, the French are also going to leave this war as well as England, and the Circle Alliance has completely fallen through. But this country is going to stay. And the reason they're going to stay is because they just got invaded. The African country is reforming lands they lost. Another bad thing, well, the worst thing that could happen happens. The rebellion picks back up, and now it's pretty much over for the Iberian team. There's not much they're going to be able to do because now this rebellion is advancing. The red team is going to push back fronts they have, but it's going to hold out because the red team has a very spread out military. They're over here trying to fight against these two, but it's not going through until the best thing that ever could happen happens for the Triangle team. Russia joins in on the Triangle Alliance. With this new with Russia joining the war, it is over for the squares because the Farmers Union had no troops on this back border, and Poland falls within a couple. Well, it falls very quickly. The Russians liberate all of Prussia. The Italians push in, and they don't take this major city now. They take a little bit, but the Russians manage to take the rest. They re-liberate this area, and now it is just the Blue Iberian country. The Blue Iberians, now with the full red military focusing on them, are going to fight hard, but eventually it falls through, and the Triangles have officially won the war in both Europe and Africa. But the squares won inside of China. So what's going to happen is Vietnam is going to surrender very hesitantly, and we are going to look at the peace treaty of the War of Empires. Here is the peace treaty. Here is your new map of the world. Over here in Asia, we only have one change, and that is China taking parts of Vietnam. They didn't want anything from Korea because they don't really see anything in Korea. Down here in Africa, the colony of the blue team got independence. This is pretty much Libya. Egypt is very mad about this because they invaded parts of Libya, but they did not get those parts that they wanted. Turkey gets all of the Turkish kind of Aegean Sea coastline. They get Crete, Cyprus, pretty good land. There's a new green Greek country. It is nowhere near as strong as the old one, but it's gonna do for now. We have Albania. This is a kind of like a blue Albanian country, and then we have like a long cyan country. We see the white Romanian country expand into the dark green country. I'm pretty sure it took around something like these lands. Russia. Russia took a lot of land. They now go into like Central Europe. They took almost all of Poland and more than half of the Farmers Union. Prussia got re-liberated and took parts of Poland. Norway took over all of Sweden and Iceland. Germany pretty much got all of its old lands back. Norway agreed to give the parts they had over here and over here back to Germany to reunite all their people. The Dutch didn't lose much land, but they did lose some. The French team gained areas inside of Iberia. England gained some areas in Scotland, and Ireland is independent once again. The Lime team gained areas inside of Iberia, and Iberia has changed a lot. The rebelled areas got their independence, and now southern Iberia is back once again. The Blue Iberian team got crippled. They are no longer in the top 10 strongest countries in the world. They did keep most of their important land, but they lost a lot of their empire. Let's look at the red team, because they now have all of the Italian peninsula. They have these two islands. I think one of them's Corsica. They have two puppet states now. They have one in Iberia, and they have one over here in the Baltics. They took over the Greeks. They took over the Greeks' puppet state once they fell. This yellowish-white country gained quite a bit of land, and they are now an official member of the Triangle Alliance, I don't know. The African country gained all of their land back. They are super happy about this. And with the remaindering of the land, they decided to the Triangle Alliance decided to put it into this little area and make the peace zone for the Triangle Alliance. This is the most neutral zone in the Triangle Alliance. While other areas in the Triangle Alliance may not like each other, like how Norway left the Triangle Alliance, Russia didn't really stay. The countries that are still in vowed to make this little area neutral for forever. But that is gonna do it. Thank you for watching my longest video yet, and I will see you in the next What If Civilization Started Over. Goodbye.